What's up, guys? I am very tired, and it is currently 12:30 in the morning, and I am very cold. But I haven't done a discussion video in a very long time, and I was given feedback that you guys like it, so here we are. So today we're going to be discussing the topic of fighting. And this isn't just any type of specific fighting. This is physical, verbal, psychological, I guess. Can you psychologically fight somebody? I guess. Probably. I don't know. But, hey, lots of fighting takes place. Not just like relationship fighting, but fighting as friends. Just fist fighting. A lot of fighting going on between people in the world. And it's just something we as humans we do. And I mean, it's a part of our nature. Especially defensive people. So I used to be very defensive. Oh, you can ask anybody who knew me. I was very, very, very defensive. I always tried to defend myself even though I didn't need to. And then it would turn into an argument. But I guess we'll go from each type of fighting. Okay. So I guess we'll start off with physical fighting. You know, you walking down the street, somebody looks at you the wrong way, and he says he or she, could be male, female, looks at you back the wrong way, and you want to say something, and you want to, let's say this person says something under their breath or something, and it makes you mad. You say, you know what, say that again, I dare you. And you know, as the other guy, he thinks he's defending himself. He's just like, oh, whatever, he says whatever he says, and that makes you want to hit him. Because I see it at my school all the time. I mean, everybody, not even everybody, I feel like my generation, especially the people I go to school with, everybody thinks they're very tough and they're very hard. Everybody thinks they're the baddest person out there. And for some reason, they feel they need to prove that to everybody, which isn't necessary. And some people just do it to compensate. Some people do it because they're a victim of bullying. They want to feel tough. They want to feel good about themselves. That's why people pick on people. So they want to make themselves feel better. They want to make themselves feel strong. And they just lash out. I've seen fights break out. I'd say the most ridiculous reason I've seen a fight break out was, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years back in like middle school. And a fight literally broke out over some chicken. I kid you not. A fight broke out over chicken. Now, some of these fights start for not really a good reason. I mean, is it really that serious? Is chicken that serious? But some people take stuff way more seriously than others. And that's okay, sometimes. But a lot of the times, fights break out over no reason. And, you know, people want to get revenge on other people. It's like, that's just like the basis of violence in general. Like, it reminds me of that movie, what was it? With Chris Brown and they're all what was it, like Step Up? Oh no, that was Stomp the Yard. Was it Stomp the Yard? Anyway, it was either Step Up or Stomp the Yard. And it was Chris Brown. They're not sponsored by Step Up or Stomp the Yard, whatever the name of that movie was, but it was like they were doing a step battle and everything. And the other team was like the team of the protagonist and his brother. They won, so they go out, and the other team who lost, they try to go fight the other team who won, and he ends up shooting the protagonist's brother because of it. And it's crazy how we resort to violence and fighting over things that don't even seem that serious sometimes. I mean, I guess they were dedicated to the whatever dance, or they really didn't want to lose, but is a human life really worth it? And I know that's a hypothetical example, but it's something that happens in the world today. People are violent towards each other for seemingly no reason sometimes. Not a lot of people understand why. Excuse me, but it's the type of thing that it's almost uncontrollable. Like, you cannot control people when it comes to, you can relax them, you can be like, hey bro, calm down, or it's not worth it. Like, I went to go see a Mets game, and I was with my mother. We were on the train to the city. We were either going or coming back. I think we were going to the Mets game. I think it was either a Mets game or we were going somewhere else. So I know we were going to the city. And there's two kids about my age, maybe a little bit older. And there's a grown, I wouldn't say he was grown. It was like a Mexican dude. He had I think he was intoxicated. And he, the kids were being loud and obnoxious, and I guess he said something to the kids, the drunk guy. He said something, and without without any second thought, he was like, yo, fight me, I dare you. So what up? He's like, get off the train and I'll fight you. And the kid's two friends, they're like, yo bro, it's not worth it, because in reality it really isn't, because that could get you killed, that could cost you your life. But they're like, yo bro, it's not worth it, don't do it. And the dude is ready, he's all big and tough, he's like, so what up, fight me, all that craziness. So he's really about to swing at him, but the train comes to the stop. Me and my mother just watching this all unfold, awkwardly, but I mean, I wasn't gonna go break up the fight, but the kid, didn't start. No, what happened was, he was like, yo, get off the train and I'll fight you. So the grown guy gets off the train, but they don't. And then I don't know what happened to that guy after that. That was the last I ever saw of him. And then the kids got off the stop after. But what really surprised me was how quick they're willing to fight each other and physically harm each other. And it's kind of sad. I've broken up my share of fights. I've seen my share of fights, and I've been in a few fights. It happens. Is it good? No. And am I proud of myself for fighting? Absolutely not. I don't like to fight. My policy is don't swing until swung at, and that's all. Unless I only fight if I'm defending myself. Some people just fight because they want to fight. They're like, man, I feel like fighting somebody. I feel like hurting somebody. That's not good. I spar. I went to karate for 3 or 4 years. That was just for self-defense, just in case I needed it. Not because I like to hurt people. Some people are just messed up. Some people just like to hurt people. And I mean, who am I to criticize them? I mean, but still, it's just something that happens. But that's only physical, like, fighting. Fisticuffs. So the next type of fighting is like verbal arguments. I mean, not so much arguments. An argument can be civilized, it doesn't have to be a fight, but like yelling and arguing, you're like fighting about something. And this happens obviously a lot with the relationships. It comes with the territory. You kind of sign up for possible fights when you enter a relationship. So, but like verbal fighting can happen with anybody. It can happen to me, it can happen to you, it can happen to Joe Schmo down the street. It's just, like I said, it's part of our nature to argue or fight or just it's not even just the want to it's not even the want to argue. It's just, I disagree, you disagree, fight. And it's weird because you find the dumbest things to argue about. Like, you won't even argue for a real reason. You just want to argue. And I see that in people all the time. You won't argue because you feel a certain way about it. You just argue to argue because you have pent-up aggression against somebody. I remember I was arguing with my friend over a game of Monopoly, because you know that game is long. Monopoly is one of those games that can end friendships because of how complicated it can get, quote unquote complicated, but how in depth it can get. And I mean, Monopoly just starts a lot of fights, but that's besides the point. I'll use my example because I thought of another example, but that happened in my family, and I won't divulge into that because it's unfortunate. But I was playing Monopoly with my friend, and I had claimed some property with the hotel thingy. I think it was. So I think he went around. He landed on one of my properties and he didn't pay, and I didn't notice it at first. And then I was like, hey, you landed there. But he claimed he didn't land there. But I was like, dude, I saw you land there. And this went on and on and on. And I was like, dude, you need to pay me. And it was a downward spiral. It was getting worse and worse. And the last word of that day was, don't talk to me anymore. I don't like you. Or something like that. It's like, don't talk to me. I'm not friends with you no more. Over a stupid game. The argument started over a freaking game of Monopoly. And it just goes to show how easily we are willing to get into an argument, a fight. Even if it's just verbally calling each other names. Cursing at each other. Saying hurtful things. And it's so easy to slip into it. I mean, like I said, I've had a lot of arguments with family, friends, especially family. Family's tough. Family's tough to deal with, especially like parents. You know, you fight with your parents. You feel so hurt. I mean, sometimes it's justifiable. But a lot of the times, like a kid or an adolescent will argue with their parents and they think they're so right. They think they know everything. But, excuse me, they don't take the time to realize the adult that they're arguing with is probably right. Like, that's why I love talking to my grandmother. Like, she doesn't I wouldn't say she doesn't like a lot of kids in my generation, but the stuff that the people in my generation do frustrates her. Now, she's 87. So she tells me all this stuff. She's like, oh, I can't stand it when I'm talking to somebody and they don't want to listen because they think they know better. I'm like, I've been around, like, she's like, I've been around for a while. I know what I'm talking about. And I can understand why it frustrates her, because, like, I'm trying to tell you something and you're so busy arguing back with me that you're not willing to hear it. You're so fixed on what you have to say and what you think. You don't care to hear about anybody else's opinion. If I'm willing to listen to your opinion and listen to you tell me about how you're so right, I deserve to have my opinions heard. And it's just that type of thing where it can be so easily avoided sometimes. It could just be 1, 2, 3 done. Like, just a simple okay. Or just let that person ramble. If somebody's coming onto you and they're just like, oh, this, that, and the third thing, and they're blah, 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 and they're complaining, and they're yelling at you, and they're trying to start an argument. Just let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. No, just let it go. Just let it go. Because if you try to argue back, if you try to fight back, if you try to resist, to them, you're resisting. They think that you're just trying to shut them up, or that you just don't want to hear what they're saying. And in that point, they start to push onto you more. They start forcing more of their point on you, because in their mind, you're resisting them. You're fighting back. Now, if you just take a step back and let them do their spiel and just give them an okay, boom, over. I have arguments with my parents, and I really think I really know what I'm talking about. I'm yelling and arguing and I'm fighting with them, and I get all hurt. You know, I've been in situations where I've said stuff to my parents, and I felt god awful about it. And I was just, I'm like, I said that and it hurt you. And then I look back on it, I'm just like, oh my god, why would I say that? I mean, like, in the midst of the fight, you're like, yeah, I hope that hurt your feelings. And then later, when you're reflecting on it, you're like, I shouldn't have said that. When you've hit regret point, that's when you know you've gone too far. Like, because my parents are split, I've used the whole, I'm going to the other parent's house because I don't like being in the situation I'm in, and that's bad. And actually, I was thinking about doing a discussion video on, like, divorce from, like, the kids, or like the son or daughter's point of view, but I'll get to that another time. But you should never try to hurt somebody if you're, like, fighting with a parent. You shouldn't ever use the other parent to manipulate them, because that will make things worse. That'll make things so much worse. Man, I've said some things to my parents I really regret. I really feel awful about it. But it's not about the regret. It's not about me saying it either. It's not about the fight. It's not the verbal dialogue or the yelling and the insulting or the tears and pain and sadness. It's about recognizing if this is you, that you've done something that caused this fight, then you need to bring it back. You need to do some inventory on yourself, look deep inside your heart of hearts, and you need to look back. Is what I did right? Is it necessary? Is it just the right thing to do? Well, I just kind of said that twice, but you get my point. And you should always take it into consideration Because, you know, you may think you're fighting, it's going back and forth, but the second you say something over the top, you could hurt somebody's feelings, and you could lose that person. They might not even want to talk to you. Because I've said stuff, like I said, I've said stuff to my family that I made. I mean, obviously arguments happen with family. It's just something that happens. But I was just like, oh. And then they were offended, or they were mad at me. And I didn't feel it at first. But when the guilt trip hits you, you shouldn't feel bad just because of the guilt trip. You should feel bad about it because you did something wrong. And you hurt somebody, if that's the case. But when the guilt seeps in, it hurts so badly. Guilt is one of the weirdest emotions because it hits you in such a way. You're just like, oh God, why would I do that, man? It make you cry. I said something to my sister one time, and it was like not even 30 minutes. I was like, I'm sorry, and this was years ago. I was still kind of little. And I was like, I'm sorry, please don't be mad at me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I was just upset. Because people say stuff that they don't mean when they're upset. And when you're upset, you just gotta hold it back, hold as on as tight as you can. Hold on before you let that one remark go. Because you could damage relationships. You know, relationships aren't just like romantic relationships. Friends, family, loved ones. It can tear it apart. And the fights, and they can go on and on and on, week, month after month, year after year. You have to make the conscious decision. Because even if you seem like, oh, I lost this fight, it's not about winning or losing. It's about being the bigger person. If somebody's coming on to you like that, you just gotta take it back. Just just relax. Let that person do their thing. And when they're done, be done with it. Be like, okay. If that's how you feel. Being 100% non-confrontational is very unlikely. Because I know people like that, and it's just not realistic. You can't be non-confrontational with everything. But be non-confrontational to a certain extent. Because fights can really tear things apart. Whether it be especially physical. Because physical, that means it got serious. It got so serious that you decided to harm the person that you felt such harsh feelings about. Like, Matthew Santoro. He recently did a video called My Abuse Story. And I was watching it today. And he describes how he was in an abusive relationship with his girlfriend, or whatever he wanted to call it. And he took it, like he posted it, and he like took it down immediately, like, but people downloaded it and made copies and re-uploaded it. But he posted it because he got such positive feedback from everybody. And what he was describing is that how he was in an abusive relationship with a woman, and how when like she actually like slapped him, like she struck him, and how he was so hurt by the fact that a loved one, someone he thought he cared about so much, struck him. It was just, he couldn't handle it. This is like Cause I watch his videos from time to time, and he really was speaking from his heart. He was crying on the video. He really felt hurt by it. And that's the thing, these fights can really tear people apart, especially physical ones. He says abuse knows no gender. And it just really tore him apart that, we as boys or men or just as males are taught to be tough. And when even like a female abuses a male, it doesn't happen, you don't hear about it. Because we're taught that that's not good. We're supposed to be tougher. Not that that's not what I think, but it's been stereotyped as men are tougher than women. It's the guy who does the abusing to the girl. Not vice versa, but it does happen. And I don't mean to go off into like a domestic abuse tangent, but I'm just saying Matt's example as these fights can really do damage. So his I can't remember what her name was, but I'll link that video in the description below. Watch it. It's a good video. It's heartfelt. But he describes how she isolated him from friends, family. Well, I don't know if it's specifically the family, but it's like every female figure in his life was just like, nope, you're cheating on me with them and I don't want to hear it. You're gonna block them. And she was controlling him with the relationship through manipulation. And this manipulation led up to the fight. And when she hit him, he could not grasp that a loved one, someone he thought he loved so much, hold on, let me smash this back, someone he loved so much would treat him like that. Especially loved ones fighting with loved ones. That can be the saddest situation. It can be so sad, the way some of these arguments and fights turn out. It's really sad sometimes to see. But you can, like I said, if you can just hold back the urge to throw that punch or to say that mean comment, if you could resist the urge, it could be prevented. You don't have to fight. So why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Everybody's gotta be so hard and so tough, and nobody's nice to each other anymore. Not nobody, but a lot of people got too much pride. They've got their heads up their butt. They don't want to admit that they have feelings, so they pretend to be tough guys, tough girls, tough everybody. See it in school all the time. But like I said, it can be prevented. So yeah, that was this discussion. I'm not really all that tired anymore. This woke me up. I'm still pretty cold. Like I'm wearing my beanie, my Nets beanie, partially because my hair is a mess. But that was it for this discussion. You know the drill. If you want to leave me a discussion topic, put it down there. Check out Matt Santoro's video on his abuse story. It's a very good video. Leave him a nice comment. He needs it. Show some love. And just try not to fight. It'll help you a lot. But yeah, as always, peace out.